Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Big Trouble in Little Podcasts. We're talking about Street Fighter again. Dubs is still gone, so in the meantime, I'm Andy.
Hey, Bison, up yours. I'm Zach.
I'm still Jazz. I'm jazzing it.
Like I said, we're doing one more Street Fighter. This is a little mini rank. We're gonna at the end of this, we're gonna talk about whether this movie was better or the anime was better. And I think everyone knows where we're gonna go with that, but we'll get there when we get there.
Hang on, there's some nuance in this discussion, though.
Yeah, I mean it's not a done deal. This movie has
Charm.
Yeah, charm's a good way to put it, I guess.
Come on, you had fun.
No, I guess. I mean, for the most part, I get bored during parts of it, and I think, I mean, I don't want to jump all the way to the end. Like, what do you think about this movie? But I get bored at the beginning, and then in the last third, I'm like, oh yeah, this movie is fun. I do like this movie, but you got to get there first. Like, it's so much just bullshit, and what the fuck are they doing with this character, and why did they change this, and why did they change that? And this is so boring. And then when they're all finally at the base and there's fights and explosions and stuff, you're like, oh yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, this is quite a silly movie. I always think of this movie, and disclaimer, this is a compliment, regardless of what someone thinks or not. But I always think of this movie in the same camp as Batman Forever.
Oh my God, I said the same thing when I was, my sister was watching the other half of it with me.
Yeah.
She'd never seen this movie, and I'm like, this movie's kind of like Batman Forever, except it's better than that movie.
It is. It is.
You think Street Fighter's better than Batman Forever?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you not?
I agree with that.
I don't know. I really don't know. That's hard. That's hard to decide.
Well, it's like, I'm not saying it's 100% far and away a better movie than that thing, but it's like, Street Fighter's not coming off of two other movies that set a tone, and then there's a drastic shift, and then it's fucking stupid and all that other stuff.
But it is coming off of video games and anime that set a tone and a story, and it kind of does its own thing. So I mean, there's a similarity there.
There is a similarity, but at the same time, there's not, because in Street Fighter at that point in time, there wasn't that much story yet. We were talking about that. We were talking about the animated movie.
We were, at least the anime gets their looks correct, and I understand it's live action, and it was never going to be perfect. But with the exception of Bison, who looks fantastic, everyone else is kind of half-assed a little bit.
No, I don't agree with that. Some people, I think, they nailed the look perfect for a live action representation. Zangief was fucking awesome.
Yeah, Zangief's a pretty good one too. Actually.
Balrog, it's weird because at first it's that's Balrog, but I don't know what happens, but over the course of the movie, he morphs into Balrog.
Is there a cut scene where he dresses as a boxer at the end or something?
Well, it's not that. It's you know how Balrog in the game has the white ripped shirt underneath his blue shirt?
Yeah.
It's he got that out of nowhere all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And he's got the massive widow's peak. I'll give him credit for that.
Yeah.
And
but I also like that Dhalsim's clothes get messed up, but he still has the cuff, and it's oh.
I still don't know what happened. Where it's he just lost all of his hair and fucking.
He just up for no reason. Okay, there's a missing scene here.
I think what you're supposed to think there is when he gets in the fight with the Shadow Lagoon and over Carlos Blanca or Charlie. That's a whole other thing I'll get into later.
Is that character invented by the movie and then adopted by the games?
No,
they took two characters and they put them together. Is effectively what happened.
They matched two characters together for some reason.
Well, I know Blanca, but Charlie.
So in the animated movie, the whole reason Guile is upset is because he is there to avenge the death of his comrade Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie is a friend. Yeah, Charlie Nash, who actually...
I've played Alpha. I know who Charlie is. Is that character, did they take it from the movie and adopt it? Or, did the movie have something to build off of? Or is it what came first, the chicken or the egg here?
I think at that time Capcom was developing the story that would go into Alpha. And they would give people things... Because the Street Fighter 2V, Charlie Nash is in it. he looks nothing like what he does in the video game,
No.
but he has that same kind of role as he does in the actual story.
Okay.
And in this case, I think they did the same thing here. It was like, yeah, you need to put Charlie and you need to use Blanca too. And they came up with that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I think there are a few things they do like try to stick with, but it also definitely has that feeling of, hey, we're making a movie, and they hired a bunch of people that know absolutely nothing about Street Fighter, and they said, just use these names. These are pictures of what the game looked like, and that was what they had to go on, and they just ran with it.
I feel like some of them were added like after the fact, like they were almost done filming, and they're like, "You gotta have T-Hawk in here." Like,
the guy,
what
he's like talking about,
right,
like
T-Hawk, and it's just like, wait, what?
I was like, that guy's T-Hawk. What the fuck? Like,
you have a Native American actor in this movie, and it's not T-Hawk.
Why isn't he ginormous? This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Why is he also just like? Does it also feel like they like digitally rendered the rainbow braid on after the fact? Like that was added 15 years later when Pride Month started to be a thing, or 25 years later, whatever. But anyway, there's a character missing, right?
What's that?
Isn't there a character missing? I can count it. Fei Long is the only character I couldn't remember meeting.
I thought I saw it. It's like a Justin Wang video or something. He talks about how Captain Sawada was maybe gonna be him, and then they like decided not to, or
probably because they were afraid to get sued by fucking Bruce Lee's estate.
Bruce Lee's estate, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my guess.
It would make sense.
I guess so. Like, just continuing on how the characters look. Like, maybe it was with you guys. Yeah, I might have said this in the chat. Like, the casting and stuff in this movie is like weird because it's like some people are like, yes, even Raul Julia. Like, you would have said Raul Julia would be Bison. And it's like, what? And then you see him do it, and it's like, fuck, this is awesome.
I still think it's weird that all
the movie,
all the advertising and stuff is like, we've got Jean-Claude Van Damme, and it's like,
uh-oh.
Oh shit! He was about to say something bad about Jean-Claude Van Damme. They kicked him out.
You there,
Andy? You there, buddy? You said Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then we lost you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sorry,
but Raul Julia is great. The woman that plays Cammy, I thought was good. Like, I thought Cammy was a solid live action rendition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's not going to wear fucking her classic outfit. I get that.
Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
Or how you say her name? Yeah.
Ming-Na Wen as Chun-Li was good. I thought. I don't know if the blue dress thing. It's so anime and shit. It's like one of those things where it's like, can you really transfer that costume into like live action and it doesn't look ridiculous? I guess. But they did in City Hunter anyway with Jackie Chan. I know that.
I mean, they found a way to still kind of make it work. They basically gave her the dress. They did the alt costume from like the hyper fighting.
Yeah, it's different. It's like a little different from that too. It's toned down, but
for live action, it wasn't bad. They found a way.
Honda was just like a Samoan guy or a Hawaiian dude.
Yeah, why? Why did they change it? I guess we casted Honda, and he walked in. And they're like, oh, you didn't read the memo, I guess. Okay, we can work with this, I guess. Like, and it's a shame because he's still like a really fun character. I still really like that character.
I'm going a little bit down the wrestling tank here, but someone was a WWF fan at this time, and Yokozuna was a Samoan who became a Japanese sumo wrestler.
Oh, sure.
So someone just took it the other way and was like, well, if they can do it, then E Honda can just be a Samoan.
Yeah, you know what the total badass move would have been? It was if they got fucking Yokozuna to be Honda. Oh my god. It would have been sick.
Would have been it.
Oh, they should have done that.
But Bonsai, and then they just had to implement Bonsai and all the characters. Like, could you imagine now playing Street Fighter 6 and the only thing that E Honda says is Bonsai? It'd be great.
But Sagat was like another what the fuck. It's like he's just like in a suit and he's like,
I guess Sagat's like my favorite character in this movie.
Like, see, I talk shit about him, and then I kind of like walked it back a little bit after watching it again. It's like, yeah, he's not that bad actually, but still, it's like so opposite of like what his character is.
Yeah, it like they could have named that character something else and just not messed with it being Sagat. and I think it would have been better, and it still would be like my favorite character. He's just so, I don't know, so interesting. The actor has an interesting face, and the scenes he's in is really interesting. I really like the line, he's the best cage fighter since Iron Fist. He's like, what happened to him? He retired and became me.
Yeah. His fight scenes were good too. And then Vega was pretty sick. That was pretty spot on. Like,
no, yeah, they nailed Vega for sure.
He was like, oh, he's not blonde. Well, early he had brown hair, so it's like whatever.
Yeah.
That guy was good. They when they started this movie and they were getting ready to do that fight, I forgot that it gets like cut off by Guile just like fucking bulldozing into like the whole arena before they fight. And I was like, oh, I was getting excited to see that. They cut it off.
Giant fucking missiles just actively on it, just ramming it through. Never mind that just could have all exploded. You are all under arrest.
It's fine. The Blue Army.
Just stand there. They just like, well, I guess I'm under arrest.
It's this Advanced Wars bullshit. The Blue Army versus the Red Army.
That bothered me too. The fact that they have like the light blue, so they're clearly supposed to be UN, the UN military peacekeeper or whatever, and they call them the AN for like no reason that I can discern. Like
Allied Nations.
Is the United Nations a trademark? I doubt it.
I don't know.
I don't know. Just it's weird. I was like, why are they doing this? But I do like I like the aesthetic of having the light blue in Guile's costume and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, it looks good. I forget anybody. Oh yeah, DJ was weird too. Like that the big thing about this movie is like how the characterizations get real messed up. Like forget the looks of the characters. It's the characterization gets real out of whack.
They like swap DJ and Balrog positions. I feel like DJ should have been the cameraman, and Balrog should have been working with Shadowloo, right? Like it just makes sense.
Yeah. Balrog is one of the bosses from it, so that is one of the main things that they just really take a swing and a miss from the game because they have him associated with Chun-Li, and no, he's just this big prize fighter that's supposed to be with Bison. DJ is kind of somewhere in the middle. Could just be doing his own thing, but he's not tech support.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying, like, swap. If you have to have this script, just swap those two characters. It would have made a lot more sense.
It would have been much funnier for Balrog to be the tech guy, and he's got the gloves on the whole time. They should have done that. That'd have been so fucking funny.
Oh, amazing. But like Ryu and Ken, their characterization was like fucking whack. It's like,
it felt like that stupid self-insert from the Mortal Kombat movie all over again.
Yeah, it's not even the same thing. They can't even be like karate bums. I mean, Ken's got more to him than being a karate bum anyway. But like, he's like a fucking con man, and he looks like the Miz.
They're like weapon smugglers or something. Because there's that point at the end where he tells Sagat, oh, I'm glad I met you because now I won't become you, or something like that.
Yeah.
What?
They both actually just legit look like Dollar General versions of Liu Kang and Johnny Cage from the original Mortal Kombat movie, which is hilarious because it's after, right?
That's what I thought too. It was like when I first saw him like walk on, I was like, he looks like the guy from Mortal Kombat. It was Johnny Cage.
Yeah, he really does. It's weird. It's such a weird thing to see and just not get. But that's the thing is you're not supposed to take this movie too seriously anyway. That's one thing. It's like it's hard not to do because then you watch it and see details of it. And that is one big negative for me, at least. Like individual nitpicks is I really hate how they did Ryu and Ken in the movie. I'm kind of in the same camp. That's why I didn't jump in earlier to just add things. The Sagat, like his character itself was interesting objectively, but he should have just been named something else or been someone else because he doesn't. Yeah, he's not anything at all like Sagat. Well, and the funny thing is, Sawada's the only character in the set of people that you have to learn about that isn't an actual fighter. Which again makes more sense that he would just been Fei Long. So you're just supposed to assume he's one of the 16.
They put him in the game, right?
They put him in the game for the movie, yeah. So he's like one of the best characters in that game too.
Oh my god, that game is a real hoot. I have it on the arcade machine back there, and whoo boy, it is something.
See, the arcade one's busted all to fuck, but like when they ported it to consoles later, they actually kind of fixed it, and it's like an okay game.
Yeah,
that's
I keep seeing people like rediscovering it, kind of, and be like, this game is actually kind of fun on its own. It's not as good as Street Fighter, but there's something here.
Was it a
solid.
Genesis game?
No, it's on Saturn and I think
PlayStation. I think.
Oh,
I think the Saturn version is supposed to be better. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I gotta try that sometime. Yeah, the arcade version is just choppy as fuck. They did some weird mocap stuff. It's strange.
Well, if you had say Saturn, you could play it. I'd bring it over and play it, but you don't.
Yep, you're right. I don't.
Bring it here. We'll all play it here.
Yeah, we could do that. I'm looking at the wiki page for it, and they call it Gerard Balrog. Gerard Balrog.
They gave him such unnecessary names like Ryu. Because I don't think Ryu's ever, his last name is not Toshi or Hoshi, right?
Hoshi.
Yeah. Yoshi.
Where did that come from? I meant to ask you guys that. Where did they get that last name from?
They gave Chun-Li like the last name too, Zhang, and that's not her name.
And people keep calling her Lee, like it's her surname, or like I don't know. It's confusing.
It's kind of funny.
Sergeant Thunderhawk. That's another one else.
Oh, T-Hawk is Sergeant Thunderhawk. That makes so much more sense.
Victor Sagat and Dr. Dowsum.
Now, to be fair, the guy that plays Sagat looks like a Victor.
He does look like a Victor, so it's okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Maybe they should just called him Victor.
Does Zangief have anything?
Let me look.
I just gotta know.
Where is Zangief?
It doesn't on the IMDb for the movie.
Oh, he's just Zangief.
They should have had that same actor that played Sagat in the movie as Victor or whatever. Victor bad guy, who cares? And he has two henchmen. That way, both Ken and Ryu have something to do instead of like they have to wait or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because you got Ken and Ryu there, so they fight Sagat and Vega.
Yeah.
Have Ken fight Vega, and it makes more sense to have Ryu fight Sagat. Like he scars him at the beginning, and the Guile comes in and arrests them all, and at the end, he's like, his shirt gets ripped. He's got he's wounded from the beginning of the movie, and I don't know.
That's the whole thing with that. The whole thing with Ryu and Ken is everything they're involved in is just so just bumfucked. it just is what it is.
Honestly, at the end, it's like I'm sick of watching these guys, and then you get back to Guile doing stuff. And you're like, yeah, Guile, right?
Yeah. Well, that's like at least the nice thing is like Guile. You see him, you're like he doesn't have the hair, but then he's kicking ass, so it doesn't matter. Like everything else about it's great. You get over the whole hair thing, which is minor anyway. But yeah, especially like he showed off the arm.
The flex with the oil on his arm. It's like, what the
sweet fucking Jesus, he is jacked. Yeah, that was wonderful.
Superstar Billy Graham flex.
And my two favorite parts in the movie, watching it this time around. The obvious is the line with Chun-Li and Bison.
That's classic.
It's a classic, right? You never forget that. But I expected it. But I forgot about these other two. Near the end of the movie, so there's the one where Bison's sitting there giving on the speech of how they're going to stand there stoically and face the army that comes with them, and DJ's in the back, and he's like, fuck this noise.
He starts sneaking away.
That's great. And then the last thing, it's even funnier because this became a meme in a different movie. But Zangief's finding out that he's not the good guy. That wait, Bison bad guy? And he's like, you knew this? And the DJ's like, yeah, because he's paying me a shit ton of money. And he's like, you got paid? Like realizing that became a thing in a different movie like 20 years later, and it was like a huge meme for a long time. It's just fucking great. But yeah, I laughed pretty hard at that. But there are bits in this movie that are just really drag and boring. It could just build up, and it's just that filler that has to happen. But like again, it's kind of a low point. Like I'll be honest, I had parts where I was kind of like nodding off, and I had to like try to keep myself awake. It's like knowing I get to the good parts. I don't want to miss them.
I had to pause them in the middle of the movie and like just go take a shower because I was like, I did the same thing in midway. I had to pause and get up and walk around. Like I actually had to like take a break, which is bad because this movie's what, an hour 40 minutes or less. Yeah, it's very short.
Yeah,
Wow.
I
get-
remember at some point it was playing, and I like moved the mouse because I was watching on the computer. I was like, "There's still 40 minutes of this movie left." Luckily, the last 40 or 30 minutes, that's the good stuff. But still, I was like, "Come on!"
in
And
its
it was like
defense,
Guile turns up in his stupid rocket boat, and I was like, "Okay, we got to be getting close." Oh, god damn it!
in all fairness, part of mine was more of an issue of what I did yesterday. I drove for like 8+ hours, so um, part of it was that I was just really tired. But I think in general, when I watch this movie, it's good to take a break. It feels like there's a point where it draws on, and if I wasn't falling asleep, I would just be like doing something on my phone and not paying attention anyway. So either way, still stands.
I guess I was just so busy, like, trying to deconstruct all the decisions they made. Because, like, I would see when people would come on screen, and I'd be like, man, they fucked their character up so bad. Like, what were they thinking? And I'm like thinking that while I'm watching the movie.
There's even like independent of the adaptation from Street Fighter, there's just some bad acting in this movie. Like there's some bad line delivery. There's a bad, just I don't know.
What's funny, the cash cow, the star, is the one. A lot of the bad acting comes from
100%, 1,000%. Jean-Claude Van Damme delivers some real awful lines, and the director didn't have the presence of mind to be like, let's take that one again.
I heard he was being kind of a dick during that production, though.
Who, Jean-Claude?
Yeah,
I believe it. Because he's the only person on set who probably was like anyone.
Raul Julia was somebody.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like he's not like a massive star, but he was somebody. Like that's like I remember hearing that though, and we've seen him. We had a whole Jean-Claude Van Damme month. We've seen him in other shit, and he acts better in those fucking movies.
Absolutely. Like I used to think, because all I had seen was this and a few of his other action movies, I used to think, oh, Jean-Claude Van Damme can't act, but he's a big muscle man and he can fight. That's why he's famous. And then we did those 4 movies. I was like, oh wait, what the? He can't act? Where's this been? So I don't know.
He's got some acting ability to him. It's not doesn't come through in this. It's like he's got like this weird sarcastic fucking flippant delivery of like almost all the lines he does, and they all, and his English is like worse in this movie for some reason.
Yeah, I feel like he's phoned. I feel like this movie's a paycheck to him. He was like, I don't care about this movie. Who cares?
He didn't give a shit about this movie. Meanwhile, Raul Julia was dying of fucking stomach cancer, and he cared, and he wore that goddamn costume.
This is his last movie, right?
Yeah, this is his last movie. So like, nothing but respect for that guy for like, because this was like some silly bullshit movie, and he was like, no, I'm gonna like do 110%, and I'm gonna have fun.
It comes through. He's the best part, probably.
he's so awesome in this.
I mean, of course, everyone knows, the day that Bison came to your village was the most important day of your life, but for me, it was Tuesday. Everyone knows that. That's great. I also I love his mini monologue about electromagnetism. It's so stupid. And
electromagnetism.
It has such like a great and dud of a payoff, because he's like, and it will levitate me, and then he starts to levitate. You're like, oh shit! And then the camera pulls back, and they show you how bad the effect is. It's like, no, zoom back in.
Oh, I like how he just appears in front of Guile and he shoots him with force lightning. He's like, yeah, and he starts flying across the phone.
And then he gets to explain, like, that's the most ridiculous part, that he shows up out of nowhere after having that ridiculous, like, AED setup that he's got built into his costume. And it's awesome. Like, oh yeah, inject oneself with adrenaline. Okay. Oh man. No, there's several like just psychopathic speeches he goes off on tangents on through the movie that are just wonderful. Like, he's so in character. It's funny, his character contrasts Guile so much because he delivers his lines so well that he's great. Meanwhile, Jean-Claude Van Damme is so bad that he's great. Like, I almost wonder if he did a better job, his character would be worse, but it's because his character couldn't give a shit. Yeah. Or he couldn't give a shit while delivering it, that it's that much better.
It's like, imagine if Tommy...
It's not better, it's not good, it's entertaining.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
should say. It's not better. Like this is one of my favorite 4 out of 10 movies. Like I wouldn't like, and that's and not to skip ahead to anything like that. Like it's like I couldn't like objectively say this is a good movie, but I love watching it because it's entertaining as hell. It's like the Pug of action video game fighting movies. It's
Yeah,
just so ugly. It's so ugly. It's adorable, right?
what's sad is there's movies that come out, there's adaptations that come later that are fucking way worse than this is.
Oh, absolutely.
Just-
Oh, what is it? The Path of or Legend of Chun Li or whatever.
yeah.
Like we're talking like echelons lower. Like it is so much worse than this movie. Like it's not even entertaining. It's a headache to watch. The only thing about that movie that even sticks out at all is that they did some pretty neat, decent choreography to the fighting, and that is it. There's nothing else from that movie to walk away that's redeeming itself. This movie is just entertaining, at least, even if it is like just objectively bad. But that's okay. Sometimes you have to enjoy a 4 to appreciate an 8. Like it's how it is. It's okay. So
I did want to say something I really enjoy about the actual writing for this movie is we were talking about the awesome monologues that Raul Julia gets to give as Bison, and he's showing off stupid Bisonopolis or whatever. His
The Bisonopolis is not stupid.
And
Take it back.
I can't remember exactly what it is, but either Zangief or DJ say something, and he gives his little speech about, oh, we're not doing it for power, we're not doing it because of evil, we're doing it for good and for peace, and Pax Bisonia will rule over the world. Like that's really important because this is an adaptation of a stupid video game. I'm playing on the Super Nintendo. There's no story. It's stupid. But the people who wrote it understood that there's no villain who's like, I'm doing this for evil. I love burning down orphanages. Ha 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 ha. No, like villains think they're doing the right thing. That's really important. He thinks, oh, we're going to bring peace to the whole world. I'm going to conquer I'm going to kidnap the queen, and I'm going to somehow bring peace to the world or some stupid bullshit like that. That's really important because it makes more sense for Bison's motivation. Like he's evil, he sells drugs and weapons, but he thinks he's doing the right thing.
What I'd like to think
it's a real small thing that I think just makes it a little better.
The reason I think that stuff exists though in the movie, this is just all headcanon for me, but it's because when they sat down and the writers had to come up with how to like make this movie, they had someone talk to them briefly about the characters in the video game and maybe they watched the animated movie or something. I don't know. That wouldn't make sense because of timing, but whatever. But the way they described Bison's character was he's the main villain, he's the bad guy, he is a warlord, and he does all this, and he has psycho power. And then we're like, well, we can't make him do all those things because those effects don't exist. So we'll just make him psycho.
he has psycho power.
He has psycho, power.
Exactly. This is the power of the comma. That's why it matters. They just made him fucking crazy because he has such a god complex in this movie.
I will say they did a better job than the Street Fighter 2 animated movie. Where Bison says, "You should try evil. It's a great career." He just straight up says he's fucking evil.
Yeah, that's dumb. Like Bison should be like, "Oh no, this is the way that I'm gonna create all this power and all."
I don't know.
Peace to the world. Like that's one thing that you're right. It edges out that anime.
Sometimes I actually love it and respect it when somebody just comes out and says they're evil, and you see how much they enjoy it. You know, like they genuinely enjoy life being evil.
I guess there's exceptions. There's like the Sith in Star Wars or something.
Like when the Emperor and in Star Wars, at least in the prequels, where he's like, everybody's so goddamn boring and dull, and then you have the Emperor being like. Power! And he's like freaking out and shit. It's like, and he does like the Psycho Crusher with the lightsaber and he kills those 2 fucking Jedi. Like, what the fuck? Oh.
Sometimes you do need it in that way, but I do agree. Just generic, like evil for evil's sake is kind of boring. You do need a reason, so it works out in this. That doesn't come to the other thing of how the writers definitely were just told, okay, these are elements of the video game you have to include. It almost felt like there's a checklist of things they had to include. Mm-hmm. Like, Blanca has to look like this, so let's put up a bunch of weird science mumbo jumbo on some bags and anabolic
full of Jello.
Anabolic plasma, which is fucking wonderful. And then we're gonna like, oh yeah, they did that Lou Ferrigno thing. We can make this work. So yeah, they basically made him the Hulk, and then but he got real sad because he remembered that he's Charlie later. One of my favorite ones though is that in the so for people that haven't played Street Fighter 2, when you're playing through the game, especially the original fighting games, there are sometimes objects in the stages that you can run into, like you can fall into crates or barrels. In the final stage fighting Bison, you're in Thailand where that's his headquarters. He's like taking over Shadowloo, and there are bells where he's at. I guess like if it's like in a public square or whatever, but there's a large bell. But it's actually in relation to the music that plays as well too. There are bells that are in the music that are very like specific, that are characteristic to him. It's like his theme. But you can throw him into the bells in this movie for no fucking reason. Like they're on an island and they're inside of a fortress and these rocks and all this, and he has all this random like bastardized technology they've made out of whatever materials they have, and for no reason at all, there's a giant goddamn bell inside of there. And it's only there for the scene where Guile has Bison and he's throwing his face against it.
Someone paying attention.
But it's just there for no reason other than that. And that it's a funny tie-in. It 100% feels like they said, okay, you have to put the bell in there because it's in the game. And they said, all right, we'll work it in. It doesn't make any fucking sense, but we'll put it there.
We'll put a bell in there.
Yeah, talk about the Capcom barrel that they pretended to cut Chun-Li in half in, and then there was also Bison's Minesweeper Street Fighter 2 cabinet controls.
Oh yeah, the arcade controls.
I want to like replace my cabinet like just at least like the floor for the controls and just put that down because it just looks so fucking funny. But yeah, and that's actually where the other thing with Guile comes in. It's that Minesweeper bit where he gets away and he makes that really awful line at the end when they get away and something explodes. I don't even remember what he says, but it is just god awful how he delivers it. But then the camera like pans back to him and continues to follow him after he's walking away, and it looks like he just drops character and is walking off set. Like he's like, ah, Jesus, that was terrible. Like you can just see it on his face and he's dead inside, and it still fucking shows him after the line was delivered. It was fantastic. Like little bits like that, I love about the movie, even though they're like terrible and they're just like nonsensical. But I don't know, it's enjoyable. I guess everyone likes what they like.
Yeah.
I don't know. What a ride. What an hour and 40 minutes.
You know, I also like that Carlos Blanca, the shit with the DNA mutagens and the shit, the bags. You're going to have to do some doc talker. They're DNA mutagen IV bags and shit.
Yeah, that's genuine, right? That's real.
yeah, DNA mutagens. What they did is they just looked up in a dictionary words and they're like, yeah, put them in there. If people have mutagens, they're born with them.
And they poured some Gatorade in there, some lime.
The other one said
Gatorade.
Like anabolic plasma.
Yeah,
So someone saw anabolic steroids and they're injecting him with like blood stuff. So I'll call it anabolic plasma.
So it's like steroids and plasma put together.
That's literally what they just said. They were like,
Golden Globe for writing, here I come.
Yeah, steroid water.
And it looked like Blanca was like trapped in like a Sega CD game or some shit when he was in that chamber. Like one of those fucking FMV games.
They put him on.
They just Virtual Boy attack.
Yeah, they just made him play Virtual Boy for 8 hours.
The commercial, it would like hunt you and like get on your face. That's what happens.
And then Dowson was making him play like virtual Martin Luther King or whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
that's how I fixed him.
Weird.
It was really weird.
Yeah, that was a bit strange. Oh man, this movie, what a trip.
Yeah. What else is there to say about it? Does anyone have something they've been hanging on to that they just have to get out about Street Fighter the movie from Hollywood in 1994?
If we are comparing the two, the one thing that is a letdown in this movie, just compared to watching the other one just last week, the music in this movie sucks ass.
Oh yeah, I mean the music in a lot of movies suck ass compared to Street Fighter the anime.
Sure, but it's such a stark like contrast between the two. Right?
If we're gonna start comparing them, then let's wrap this one up. Do you guys recommend this movie?
I recommend it to somebody who is a fan of Street Fighter. and likes to consume Street Fighter media.
That makes, it's kind of the same for me. Like general audiences, no, I don't really recommend this movie. I don't really like if you like the games, watch this movie and be like, what the fuck do they do? Like it's pretty fun. Honestly, if you want, watch the last third of it. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, my prerequisites for recommending this movie are: do you like Street Fighter? Like if you played it, do you enjoy it, and or do you like drinking games? And it really depends on how much they like the second one, because you may not need the first one, but it helps. But if you like both, if yes to both, then definitely recommend it.
Sure.
Great drinking game you can make out of this. It's I can't remember looking at the list. It's basically anything that is disruptive of the canon from the game or other things, which means you get plastered by the end of it.
You'll die.
Yeah, you'll die.
Your liver will just crystallize.
Well, that'd be fun too, because you have a bunch of guys sitting around pointing at the screen and shouting, "Oh, this is different because blank," and then there's kind of like a semi-debate about, "Well, yeah, but okay, that is different," and then you drink. Yeah, it seems like fun.
No, it is. It's I'm sure it'd be a good time. I've never personally done it, but I've ever seen the list, and I was like, that'd be fun to do. Yeah.
It's funny is like this is not like we mentioned earlier. This isn't even like the only objectively bad piece of Street Fighter media that's out there. There's the newer movie. There's the cartoon that was on USA in the 90s. Oh my god, it's it's a treasure trove of memes. I mean, Bison's face when he's like, "Yes, this is delicious," and he's like, "Fucking." He has like the giant butt chin, and like the animation is insane. I remember I found this super cut of just all kinds of dumb shit from that show and like animation mistakes. And there's literally a shot where like some guy's shooting lasers and DJ like runs around a corner, and it's like they were so lazy that they shrank DJ down so that they wouldn't have to draw him dodging a laser. He shrank. I'm almost have to see if I can find that shirt to you guys.
Oh, that's pretty wonderful.
Oh,
but yeah,
Lord.
Otherwise, yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. So yeah, that's where we're at. So I guess in comparing the two, I mean,
yeah, judging from our whether we recommend it or not, and remembering back to next week, rank them. I guess which one's better?
Street Fighter 2, the animated movie. I was drinking water.
Oh, okay. Chaz, do you have anything to add?
I mean, nothing to add necessarily. This is tough. I actually do think that there are times I would prefer to watch Street Fighter the movie more than the animated film, but it's hard to say that the other one's better. Street Fighter the animated movie is what I would say. Also, in just a general sense of recommending the two.
So why at the beginning of this movie, it shows the logo and it says Street Fighter, and then what's it say? Like the Ultimate Warrior, some stupid bullshit. There's a subtitle to it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what it is.
Probably the World Warrior, right?
That would make sense.
I don't remember seeing that.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the World Warrior, which I mean that's the title of the original second game.
Do you have a Mandela effect?
Yeah, probably.
Because it's not
like
even
just
on the
now, like I just came into this dimension.
Man, you know what's crazy is this guy, like the guy who did Street Fighter, also directed.
He directed very little. He wrote for a lot of movies.
Oh, he wrote. Okay, see, I just now pulled it up and I'm like, what the fuck? It's like Commando, Running Man,
yeah,
Die Hard.
Fucking Die Hard. No, he helped write the screenplays for those movies. He did not direct them. And in fact, to see the movies he's directed, you have to scroll over past the other movie roles that he's done, producing or additional credits or whatever. And he has 8 directing credits, and they're all TV movies and TV shows except Street Fighter. And 3 of the 8 credits is Street Fighter, because it's Street Fighter deleted scenes, and Street Fighter something else. So
he's a better writer than a director, I guess.
Clearly.
Okay.
All right. You guys have anything else to say about Street Fighter? Or just Street Fighter? You both love it, I think.
No, I hate Street Fighter.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on.
Lord Bison.
We're gonna
Will
move
you
on.
enjoy them? I don't know. Maybe. Could you? Sure, you can.
Sure. We're gonna move on to what we've been playing, watching, doing, and some news if anyone has it. But first, we're gonna see a commercial.
Quick, change the channel.
Wow! Oh, somebody put a microphone in front of me. You know what that means, brother. Yeah. I've heard all about this podcasting thing. I think I've been on it a time or two myself, I believe. It's a little intergalactic for me, a little out there, but that's okay, brother. Yeah. Because on Getting Some Color, you can relive moments, me and my glory, and my moment of glory before the yellow and red Brutus. You know who I'm talking about, brother. Yeah, the guy who was backstabbing, hot dogging, grandstanding. Forget all about him. You can see the Macho Man in his glory days, or you can hear people talking about it at least. You can watch, too. But hey, that's not what's important. The devil's in the details. Sometimes the details aren't important. Sometimes they are. These details, they're a little bit important. You can catch Get Some Color bi-weekly Thursdays, 10 p.m. Eastern. Be there or not, as they say. Wow! Wow, man, freak out, yeah! Wow! Whoa!
Alrighty. You know what? I'm gonna go first because, as usual, I didn't do too much. But Watch War Tears of the Kingdom, still love it. I had like 3 episodes of Beast Wars left. I did not realize that last week, but I'm done with Beast Wars now. I watched the whole thing. I watched the children's show. Good job, me. And then I decided to watch more children's shows. I can't. What brought this on? I can't remember. I wanted to watch Dragon Ball for pretty much no reason, and I thought, oh man, I always wanted to. I don't know if you guys. Okay, hang on. Let me go way back. I worked at FYE in college a little bit, and while I was working there, they came out with a box set called the Rock the Dragon box set, and it's just the ocean dubs of Dragon Ball, like the voices from before what they now use. And actually, some of the voice actors are the same. I think Piccolo stayed the same, and a few other people did. And I really wanted it when I worked there, but it was kind of expensive, and I never got it. And the time kind of came and went. Now it's really expensive. So I tried to Google it because I was like, "Can you stream it anywhere?" Yeah, it's all on the Internet Archive. You could just watch it whenever you want for free. So I watched Dead Zone, which is like less than an hour long.
Yeah.
That's weird. But I watched Dead Zone, and then I was like, this is fun. I'm going to keep doing this. And I watched all of season 1, and I'm pretty far into season 2. Vegeta just went back to space, and now they're discussing how they're going to go to Namek. So I watched a whole bunch of Dragon Ball Z with the wrong voices. And occasionally, yeah, it's pretty hilarious. The voice acting is not as good as it is later, but it's not that bad. Like, some of it's fun. Some of the voices are actually kind of fine. I always liked the ocean dub of Vegeta.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say, I actually kind of prefer Ocean Vegeta.
I'm excited to get to Ocean Frieza, though. That's what I'm here for.
Oh, you mean Genkai?
But also,
listen, dimwit.
Tree of Might's on there, and World's Strongest, which I think is one of the most boring Dragon Ball movies, but whatever.
Yeah, that was weird.
But I've been having a lot of fun watching it. I've always liked Dragon Ball Z anyway. Like, of course I did. I grew up watching it, and I was kind of, because Chaz keeps talking about watching it. It was kind of like putting it in the back of my head anyway. So I wanted to watch it. I don't have Funimation or Crunchyroll or what the hell ever, and like I said, I don't know if it's legit. It probably isn't, but someone uploaded it to Internet Archive, so go over there and watch it. And after the Ocean dub runs out, they kick it over to the Westwood dub, which I don't really have any experience with because I'm not Canadian. So I don't know if I'll stick with it or not. But it's weird because it's like season 1 and 2 and the first 3 movies are done by Ocean, and there's like 3 different cuts of Tree of Might that they did. And then there's no season 3 at all. So you just kind of miss out on everything after Frieza up until a certain point, and then it becomes the Westwood dub all the way up through the end of the Boo saga, which I did not know they dubbed.
I think a couple people carry over from the Ocean dub to that one.
Yes.
Brian
Right.
Drummond for sure stays as Vegeta because I've seen clips of him in like during Cell Saga, doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The final Flash sequence hits a lot different with Brian Drummond. Oh my god.
Huh. I might stick with it because I'm kind of curious about it because I've seen Dragon Ball Z in its entirety more than once in my life. So it's kind of interesting to see it in this different way because I remember a long time ago watching the Ocean dub on Cartoon Network. That was my first exposure, and then they converted over to the dub we all know and love now. So it's been interesting. It's a fun little trip down memory lane, and also probably seeing some stuff for the first time. I doubt I caught every episode back in the day, but it's fun. I love Dragon Ball. It's so much fun to watch. And then I watched one movie. I watched 3 Days of the Condor. It's a movie from the 70s. It's like a spy thriller kind of thing. It's this guy reads books for the CIA, and everyone in his office gets murdered, and he's trying to figure out why. And at some point, the CIA thinks maybe he did it. It's really good. I highly recommend it. It's what's his name? Robert Redford, right? It's the main guy. It's a very good movie. I just like grainy, old, shitty 70s action movies. It's fun. It like kind of looks like Dirty Harry, but it plays more like it's got some James Bond-ishness to it, but it's more realistic. It's fun. Who's going next? Zach, you go next. Would you play, watch, do, read?
I watched a bunch of movies. I watched Vampire's Kiss with Nicolas Cage in it. That movie's weird, and it's after reading about it some, like in looking at Nicolas Cage's filmography, I'm trying to pinpoint where exactly he first started acting crazy, and so far I'm inclined to believe that it's this movie.
That's the earliest one I've seen him be bonkers in.
Because when I was reading about it, like apparently he had a very specific way of acting in this movie. It's like literally like what the Wikipedia says, and like he gave a very odd performance on purpose, and they just kind of fucking went with it for some reason. I don't know why. The guy that wrote the movie apparently was having problems with his wife at the time, and he wrote the whole thing as like an allegory. The relationship between the weird, maybe the vampire lady's real, maybe she's not, and Nicolas Cage's character was like basically him writing out the shit he was going through with his wife. He pretty much called his wife a vampire.
That was a messy relationship then. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So there you go. There's that. It's okay. It's kind of only like worth watching because Nicolas Cage acts crazy in it, if I'm being honest. It's not as bad as like Deadfall though. That's just a bad movie.
Deadfall's just bad.
Jesus, I remember reading though, like they were considering somebody else for the part Nicolas Cage got, and it was like somebody like I think it was Dennis Quaid actually, and it'd be like, what? That would have been real different. I don't know what that movie would have turned into. What else did I watch? I watched Candyman, the original Candyman. It actually been a really long time since I've seen the original. That movie rules. And I don't know. It kind of reaffirmed like what I thought watching the new one, and me not really reacting to it that well. It just kind of pretty much reinforced that feeling after I watched it again. Watched People Under the Stairs, another Wes Craven movie. I think it's one that kind of flies under the radar that people don't talk about much anymore. It's like a horror movie where like this kid and like this other guy and his friend try to break into these people's house that lives in this fucking weird neighborhood. And it turns out they broke into the wrong people's house. It's like one of those things. I was originally drawn to this movie because the people who play Big Ed and Nadine in Twin Peaks are the villains in this movie.
That's bizarre.
And it is really bizarre, but it's awesome. They both do an amazing job. Oh my god, it looks like they're having so much fun. I'd recommend this movie because it's real different, especially for like an early '90s horror movie. Like it's very not like early '90s horror movies were still pretty good. They didn't get into that vibe where they started doing that like shitty teen slasher shit that wasn't even fun, like how it was in the '80s kind of vibe they went to later. Yeah, I'd check it out. I also watched Pacific Heights with Michael Keaton. The movie's not what I thought it was going to be. He was like, I remember hearing like, oh man, Michael Keaton was in Pacific Heights. He played like a psychopath, and I'm like, okay, is he like a serial killer or something? No, he's like this elaborate con man guy who like his whole thing is he lives. This sounds amazing, especially now from what people know about like laws in California and how fucked up they are sometimes. They live out in California, and what his thing is he moves into an apartment or like a place that people rent, and he purposefully somehow weasels his way into living in the place, not paying his rent, and California law protects him from that.
Oh, I think someone told me about this movie. This sounds familiar.
And then, like, what he does is he proceeds to drive the people in the fucking building he's inhabiting insane until they physically try to fight him or do something to him, and it makes them look bad. And what happens is they lose their fucking property, and he gains it. And it's all through, like, weird legal California fucked up law loopholes and stuff. And, like, and especially today, I'm like, I can kind of believe this happening out there now, honestly. Like, it's kind of sad, but at the time, I think Roger Ebert described it as like a yuppie nightmare or something, like some which made me laugh. It was 1990 when it came out. Pretty good though. The best part was at the end. There was a sequence where like one of the characters was laying there. He'd been all fucked up from like a series of events, and he was like flipping channels, and I guess he flipped it to MTV and Soundgarden was playing. It started playing Hands All Over. I'm like, fuck yeah, there it is. It just kind of turned into like a music video for Soundgarden for like a minute and a half.
Weird.
It was cool. I watched Fright Night, the original from 1985, because apparently there's a sequel and there was a remake. And I didn't know this. It was pretty good, actually. It was like it's like a send up for like, I almost want to say like Vincent Price and Dracula stuff and the Hammer horror movies. That's what I really feel like, because they got this guy who's called like Peter Vincent. It's Vincent Price. It's not Vincent Price though. I guess they couldn't afford him or he was busy. But the guy acts like Peter Cushing in like all of the Hammer movies. That's like his demeanor and the way he acts and stuff. And I don't know, it's like this kid is living in this neighborhood and this weird guy moves next door and he thinks he's a vampire and he's going crazy. And it turns out he really is a vampire. People are getting murdered mysteriously. And the thing is, he looks crazy because he's accused of
air quotes murder,
because you don't know, he doesn't see anybody get murdered.
Okay, they're just
I think I remember the remake to this. Isn't Colin Farrell in the remake?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, among other people, but like I was reading like the remake was apparently okay, so I might check it out. Cool movie though. I really at first I was like, this is kind of silly, but over time they kind of got me, especially with all the homages and stuff. It kind of really helped it in my eyes. And,
I've seen the remake. The remake's not bad. I want to watch the original now. I didn't realize it was a remake.
The original was solid, yeah. And that guy also made the first Child's Play movie. The guy that directed it. He directed and wrote Fright Night. He also wrote and directed Child's Play.
Interesting.
Hey, look at that. So thanks, dude.
Thanks,
I
dude.
definitely gotta watch it now.
Tom,
That's why
Tom Holland. His name was Tom Holland. That was my joke. It's like Tom Holland's in this movie. Tom made this movie. When does he become Spider-Man? But then I watched Don't Breathe. Yeah, that was a great movie.
You really stayed on theme with people breaking in, and realizing, oh, they fucked up. They went to the wrong place. Isn't that the movie with the blind guy?
Yeah, there's all kind. Yeah, the blind guy who the old war veteran dude and shit. Yeah, and it's like at first, man, that movie's a trip because it's like you
Mhm.
fucking hate the people that are supposed to be the protagonists in this movie at first. One of them though, like you don't give a fuck about him, and he kind of you know it doesn't matter. He gets deleted from the movie anyway.
Yeah, I
But
I do love that movie because it's like you're rooting for the bad guy.
you kind of are.
You're rooting for the monster.
And then, but then, like he's kind of fucked up in it. You learn he's fucked up in his own way too, and it's like, man, everybody in this movie sucks. But that's a good modern horror movie. I'll call it. Definitely check out Don't Breathe if you've never watched it. It's the whole premise of it's unique in the way that they handle the situation. But I also I've been playing Diablo 4 when I can. I'm still enjoying it, but I don't have much else to say about it. Playing Sonic Origins Plus. I've played through Sonic 1 on anniversary mode with Amy so I could say that I did that. So I'm like, well, I get to play as Amy. You never got to do that until Sonic Adventure. Her little hammer move, she has like a hammer move where it's like it acts kind of like a shield, but also if you hold the button down and hit the ground, she'll like zip forward, like slamming her hammer on the ground, so you can just like run through fucking enemies and kill them that way.
Oh, kind of like the drop dash, but extra offensive.
Yeah, it's like an offensive drop dash, pretty much.
Huh.
It was cool playing that. And I'm pretty sure I've noticed in anniversary mode they've added TV power-ups and stuff that used to not previously be there in some places, which is fine. I also noticed there's no lives when you play anniversary mode. You have infinite lives.
Yeah, it's like the definitive new way to do it. I don't know. I saw some people complaining. It's like, why they take lives away? Blah, blah, blah. But there's still a regular classic mode playing.
You can play the original mode if you want.
Yeah. Do you have to unlock the Game Gear games, or do you get them right off the bat?
They're just there.
Good. That's what I wanted to hear. Okay, good.
You gotta put in. It's weird though. It's like if you buy it physically, it comes with the game, but there's also a download code for all the additional content.
Sounds like a Capcom move.
Yeah, I don't know. It might not be that way on PlayStation and Xbox. This issue's been coming up more, and I've noticed it with Nintendo games for Switch. Is apparently those cards they use don't have enough space allegedly to hold everything, and sometimes
to hold some Game Gear games. Come on now.
I've been hearing it for other stuff, but it doesn't make any sense though. It's like
they always do it with those Capcom collections, Mega Man X, the Resident Evil stuff. It's like half of it's on the cart and half of it's on the code. And what I read, and this was like on Reddit or something, so grain of salt, but what I read is it would fit on the cart, but it would cause difficulty or something. So they just do this because it's easier. And I was like, that's not a good reason.
Yeah, that's not a good reason to me either. I heard recently with the Metal Gear collection they're gonna do
that too.
It has to do the same thing, but I also heard like they almost were able to fit the whole thing on there, but they went 5 gigs over the limit somehow. And I'm like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that because I heard allegedly the max storage capacity on these little cards is like 32 gigabytes or something.
32. I thought it was 64. I'm pulling that number out of my ass though.
I seem to from what I could find about it, everybody was saying 32.
That's Google. 32. Yeah, 32 gig. Hang on, that's internal storage in the Switch. Hang on. Max cartridge size for Switch. Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah. But I also played Sonic CD on anniversary mode. That is the way to play that game.
It says 1 to 64, so I
don't know. Well, whatever. Anyway, Sonic CD anniversary mode is the way to play it because that's probably the most difficult and frustrating out of all the classic games, just because of some of the design decisions in it. It's like you got to time travel and shit. And that's kind of hard to do. Like if you want to get a good ending or anyway or whatever, if you don't care about that, fine. But it does make the last level of every zone harder if you don't try. Also, the special stages are hard as fuck in that game.
Mm-hmm.
And they do this thing where it's like you have coins and you get, instead of lives, you collect coins when you get 100 rings, or you get like what was a 1-up. And you really use those coins to buy extra stuff in like the museum. But you can, I guess, at least in Sonic CD, it lets you retry special stages for the cost of a coin, which, that was a massive help. Because it was so hard to get all the time stones in the original release. It's very difficult.
I've never done it.
I got real close, and I could never finish the game doing it. Like, I don't know. I've only ever tried to play through the game like 2 or 3 times, though.
I've never got all the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 1 either.
You never have?
No, that's not even that hard, I don't think. It just never has happened. I haven't played it enough. Like Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Knuckles. Yeah, I do it in those all the time. I'll do that in the afternoon, but it's just Sonic 1. I just never did.
It's a little harder than those games, I think, but it's not impossible. I did it pretty much every other time after I played it through the first few times I ever played it. But the other thing, though, is time travel is a lot easier, because it used to be before you could just run into badniks and just fucking lose all your momentum.
Yeah.
Instead, you just plow right through them.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So, like when you do your super peel out, if you're Sonic and you want to try to do it, you'll go right. You'll bulldoze right through enemies. It will just stop you. And they got rid of the time limit killing you. So you have more time to actually, especially in this game where you have to explore. It's more exploration driven than any other Sonic game, really. That's like a huge, yeah. It's like a huge, lifts a huge weight off your shoulders, because it's like before you'd be like, God damn it, I gotta try to find the past thing. Okay, now I gotta do this. I gotta find the roboticizer and break it. There's a lot you gotta do. And then I started playing Super Mario Brothers 3.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to try to play through it. I'm trying to bone up on Mario shit before Super Mario RPG Remake comes out.
Yeah, there's a spoiler for news later. There was a direct, and they announced a bunch of stuff no one gives a fuck about. And they also announced they're remaking Mario RPG. Yeah!
I never played through Super Mario Brothers 3. This is going to be my first time.
It's my favorite. I like it better than World.
I'm gonna play World. I think I'm gonna play World. It's either I'm gonna finish it. We'll see how I feel, how fast I do it.
Look, 100% as far as World goes, and you can do this with 3 as well if you want. Play it with a friend. Play it 2-player, where you take turns. One's Mario, one's Luigi, and each time you either complete a level or die, it's the other guy's turn. 100% best way to play Super Mario World, in my opinion. So I played it with the mutual friend of ours. Every time he came over, it's Mario World time. We pulled out the whiskey, we pulled out the Super Nintendo, and we just played Mario until we were sick of it. We beat it in a couple months. It was a good old time.
Cool. Yeah, the goal is to eventually get to playing the original Super Mario RPG, which I have. I just have not gotten to playing it yet.
It's also extremely good. It's got charm to spare. I was very surprised by it.
That's it. That's all the shit I did.
That's all of it. Chaz, you're up.
I went on vacation. I'm done.
Whoa! Now, I was playing Zelda the other day, and I saw you get online playing Dark Souls Remastered on the Nintendo Switch. And I was like, why? But then I thought, oh, that's right. These weirdos all have broken brains, and they replay FromSoft games 30 times a year.
Yeah, well, I had finally hit that point where I wanted to play. I'll get there, though. So I did go on vacation. And before I went on vacation, I played all of like 30 minutes of Street Fighter, and then I asked my little brother, "Hey, should I bring the PS5 or the Switch?" And with the group of people we had, we thought, "Oh, we'll have more party games with our Switch. It'll be easier to pack, whatever." That's what we agreed on. Turns out, everyone else that we traveled with, no one was interested in any video games. Other than the other teenager that came who brought his own PS5 and only wanted to play the games on his PS5. Whatever. It was fine. That being said, it's actually crazy that you played Super Mario 3 and we were talking about Super Mario World, because what you said a second ago is exactly what me and my brother Austin did. I played a little Super Mario 3. It was very brief. I also played a little Sonic, but that was I just played some Sonic 2, but that was very very brief. But we booted up Super Mario World, and we'd already had some drinks, but we were just trading back and forth. It was exactly that. Like
It's
just
so much
you.
fun. It's perfect.
No, but that's exactly what we did when we were kids. So like that's just it's been a thing we've done before. We used to do it a lot with Crash Bandicoot too. Same thing. Beat a level or you die. Which, funny enough, in that game, you're passing the controller a lot more because Crash Bandicoot, especially the original one, it's hard as shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a blast playing Super Mario World, and then I kept getting the itch to play Street Fighter, but I didn't have Street Fighter 6, but I do have the Street Fighter Anniversary Collection on every system I own. So
Yeah,
I
sounds like
yeah I
you.
played so I played Turbo and had fun, and then the vacation itself was a good time. I shouldn't just ignore that. Like we went out and most of it was relaxing, enjoying the pool and getting to eat and have lots of drinks and whatnot. We did go to Guy Fieri's downtown Flavor Town which was, for my birthday, which was supposed to be a meme, but we went there and it's basically his own version of a Dave and Buster's. So uh, I went around and played a bunch of arcade games and claw machines, a bunch of nonsense there, and had fun. And then went to I did actually win a high score in skee ball and win like 10,000 tickets because I I apparently if I had the right amount of stuff to drink. The skee ball, I made it my bitch, and I made 7 of my 9 shots in the 10,000. So I ended up getting the high score, and I got whatever. So I was like, yeah, woo woo. But 10,000 tickets was basically like a Jolly Rancher there.
Fuck.
It wasn't very much. So they also like messed up our food, which is a weird, unrelated story, but kind of relevant. They forgot part of our order. We had a party of 12, and they forgot like 4 of the meals, but one of them was mine and one was my daughter's, and I was very drunk. I had had a couple of Long Islands because this was on my birthday, and I even told them I was very nice. I kept it calm, but was like, "Listen, you forgot the food. Like we've been here over an hour. We almost missed a reservation for something else, but like." My daughter is 4. She can't go this long without eating. Can we please do something? Like just bring a slice of cheese out or something.
Mhm.
And they ended up comping half of our meal, and then they gave me $100 free to go use in the arcade, and then a bunch of extra tickets to spend. So it ended up working out. We went duck bowling, which is also a weird thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of it before.
Is that like
I
the
think
mini bowling?
I think it's yeah they call it duck bowling, but I'm pretty sure it's mini bowling or like the mechanical pins bowling
Yeah,
where
that's that thing that's attached to that arcade in Powell where
Columbus.
we went. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually really hard, but also very fun. So you get 3 attempts per frame. However, it's still like real bowling. So if in three frames, if you get all 10 pins, you just get 10 points and that's it. But if you still like within 2 frames get all 10, you get a spare, or if you do it first try, you get a strike.
Hmm.
But it's a lot harder to score because the balls are attached, or not the balls, but the pins are attached to a string or something holding them. So the pins don't fall the way they're supposed to, or they normally do with a bowling alley. Also, the ball is very small. You can palm it. There are no holes, and you just throw that some bitch as hard as you can. So I finally figured out the trick. I was the only person in my group of people that actually got a strike. I managed to get 3 strikes because I started throwing it as hard as I could because I was very drunk. And that worked. People were like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? I'm like, I'm just throwing it really hard. I'm not aiming. But that tended to work out because the one would swing everywhere and the pin would string. I don't know. It was fun though. We had a good time doing that. Dollywood ended up being kind of a bust. We had some drama happen within our group, and then it also rained very early, so we ended up only being in the park for all of like 4 hours. But we got to ride some roller coasters before the thunderstorms shut that down, and then we went back and in honor of National 626 Day, we watched Lilo and Stitch, as you do. Yesterday was Stitch Day. It was the day before that we watched it, but anyway, it's a cute movie. It's fun. It also my daughter is very into it at the moment. She's really big into that. So we're watching like the animated
Your
series.
young daughter likes Disney movies? That's strange.
Yeah. Well, I
They're
don't know
gonna
if you.
remake that one next.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a live remake of that, which I don't know how that's going to go. But there's an animated series that was out when we were
Yeah.
all a lot younger. There's actually something great about it. He's like, basically the gist of it is each episode's about him catching different experiments because he's 626, while all the other ones are scattered around the island and loose, and he's trying to help them all find their place in their home because they're all his cousins. Well, one of them, his title is he is Experiment 625. He's not been given a name, but he is a tan version of Stitch. He has all the same powers except he has advanced language, which means he just speaks perfect English. But the only reason that he doesn't do anything, he has all the same capabilities of destruction, but he is a lazy coward who would prefer to make sandwiches. So he spends the whole time, and he has like this
He's my
really
spirit
thick.
animal.
He has like this thick, like Italian, like New Yorker accent, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm ready to make the sandwiches." Yeah, and that's all it is. And the whole thing, anything he's involved in, he's just making sandwiches, and it's fucking hilarious. And I love it. Other than that, yeah, that was the trip was fine. It was fun. Since I've been back, I have been watching the latest episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia of season 16. If
I
you
need
are
to do
caught up to that point, you should watch them. The first episode, I was wheezing, laughing. It is so
Good.
fucking funny.
Every season, I'm like, "There's no way they must have forgotten how to be funny. There's no way this is going to be any good." And I keep watching it. I'm like, "They're still funny."
No, and they are, and all 4 episodes so far that have come out, they're great. A lot of people went on and on about this most recent one called Frank versus Russia. It's really good. Don't get me wrong. I think the hype killed it a little for me. It wasn't as good as everyone made it out to be, which that's what Reddit will do for you. It'll just ruin your life. But I will say that first episode, that season premiere, had me and my wife rolling in like we were just dying laughing. I actively had to like pause it because we were laughing too hard to pay attention. Yeah, it was great. As far as other things I played, we already mentioned Super Mario World and all that. You brought up Dark Souls. I woke up hungover one morning, and everyone else was all miserable and not wanting to get up and do much of anything yet, and the weather was kind of bad. So nobody wanted to do anything with me, and I'm, me, I have
And
to
that's
be
your
like moving
comfort.
around.
No, it's fine.
So I sunk into the couch. I turned on Dark Souls and was like, how far can I get on a fresh run? And I got decently far on just like a suicide run. Basically, I'm going to start with the level 1 Pyromancer, and I'm just going to run and suicide to what I can get. I went immediately down into the Blight Town and got the giant club, and I just was like, okay, I'm going to level myself to the minimum requirements of using the club. I'm going to use nothing but the club and whatever armor I can wear at the time to still let me fast roll, and I'm just going to run with the game and see how far I can get. And I got decently far. I didn't quite get to Ano Rolando, but I was like, if I'd have had another hour, I'd have gotten Ano Rolando for sure. What's the weird dragon, the gaping dragon? I as far as like playing the game, I'd beaten most bosses up to that, and I did like some other bullshit. Like I like backdoored a bunch of stuff because that's what you do. So I beat the Hydra. I'd beaten some other stuff in Darker Garden. I didn't beat the wolf yet. That was too high level. But the Moonlight Butterfly was the one I took down. And then the first 4 bosses in the technical order you're supposed to do them, plus the whatever the other bullshit is. And I beat the game. No, I didn't even get to the halfway point. That's what I meant about Honor Orlando. I consider it like the halfway point. Yeah, well, I didn't even get there, but
And
I only played for.
turn back around and the game reopens up, sort of.
Yeah. He wasn't even playing it with his tangerines or anything.
Yeah. No banana run.
Bananas with marimba now. Play the game.
But I did it for a few hours, and someone that like is completely unfamiliar with the game or whatever comes and is watching. And is like, "What are you playing?" And I mention what it is, and it's like, "Why would you play this?" Because I hate myself.
That's right.
But yeah, it was a fun time. The last final thing. Sorry, there is one other. Two things. Dragon Ball Z. You already mentioned that. I have 7 episodes left. I am at the end of the Boo saga. They have literally just wished the Earth back because Kid Boo is so evil that he destroys the Earth and then destroys other planets after that, and then is so angry about it that he's like, "I'll go to heaven and I'll destroy that too." And that's where they're at. They're fighting him in heaven, on the Kai planet. Uh, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I have not decided yet if I should just be a normal person and watch something else I haven't watched, or if I should watch Super or GT, or which order I should watch those in.
Follow your heart.
Yeah, I'll have to roll with whatever I feel once I've watched the last ones. I've considered just staying up because I mean I'm at the end of that one episode. And I only have 6 left, and it's like that's just a few more hours. So who knows? I'll have to finish it tonight.
I think I want to watch GT sometime in the near future. I used to hate it and still kind of do, but part of me wants to see if it was worth hating like I did.
I've never seen it.
I've watched it through one time. I've watched it through one time when I was younger, and I was the same way. It's like I don't really like this.
Yeah,
but
it's
they're
just
like
so
little
annoying
bits.
because on paper, at least the first season sounds awesome because Goku gets turned back into a child, so it's like Dragon Ball, and he goes with Trunks, who is an awesome character and like everyone's favorite, and I guess also Pan, she's fine. And they go on a Dragon Ball hunt, like Dragon Ball, and I love Dragon Ball. Like Dragon Ball Z, don't get me wrong, it's the best one, but I love Dragon Ball. So it's basically the plot of Dragon Ball with the trappings of Dragon Ball Z. So I should love it, and it's so boring and so dumb, and every character sucks out loud, and I just hate it.
That's what I'm worried about going back and watching. Like 17, for instance, a great example. 17 is fucking awful. For the little, it's like do justice for him what little bit that they gave him, and then Super comes out, and 17 is one of the best characters.
He's like
ever.
Redeemed and cool, and everyone likes him now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's weird. I'm, and another thing too is if you follow story, I mean, obviously GT has been written off. It's not canon anymore. But the whole point for timeline was to be that Super would happen and then GT would happen, but that isn't possible anymore anyway because they far exceeded power level from Super. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. That being said, something I didn't want to forget, even though it's a tidbit of news. I know you mentioned you don't have Crunchyroll, but for those that do, or if you want to get the free trial to do it, next month, I'm not sure when, Dragon Ball Super Hero, the movie that was recently out in theaters, will be added to Crunchyroll.
Maybe I'll get it back. I had Crunchyroll for like a year and a half, and I really liked it, but I needed to cut some costs and nixed it, and just never got it back.
At this point, I would probably cut one of my other big streaming services I pay for to keep it because I've used the bejesus out. Like as far as like time committed, like I'm using it more than most of the other ones that I have. So
I think I would too. Before we recorded, I said I have all these tabs open. 2 of them are animes I want to like look up and check out, and if they're on there, that'll be cool. Have you guys ever heard of an anime? Just real quick, this is apropos of nothing. Have you guys ever heard of an anime called Future GPX?
I feel like I have. It sounds familiar.
It was pitched.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
It was pitched to me. Well, just like online. I saw this online somewhere. It said, "What if Gundam but race cars?" Or no, it was what if F1 but Gundam? And I was like, "Excuse me?" And it's basically like they're all stylized like Gundam, and there's characters in it. I think there's even a Char for some reason, but it's like super futuristic F1 car racing. And I was like, "What sounds like everything I love? I should check that out."
So just F-Zero, but in crazy anime fashion with Gundam.
Sort of. I mean, the cars all look vaguely like if you took Gunpla and Formula One, and then
that's. It was very aggressive kissing. Yeah, that's good. So the last thing before I jump to the Dragon Ball stuff, so Pokemon, I didn't do much other than like hunt for random cards. I did find a couple things while I was there. There's a ton of shops in Pigeon Forge area. The one thing I found, I wasn't looking for it, but I found it. I'm steadily in that spot where all like those vintage holo cards that I have, if they're not first edition, if I find a first edition on a good deal, then I'll pick it up just if it happens. But I'm not technically looking for them, I guess, per se. But I found so back in the Neo set, when they made the starters, so Meganium, Typhlosion for Alligator. They actually printed 2 cards. There were 2 different ones. I have one of the first edition Typhlosions. I found the other one, so I got that upgrade. I did get a handful of tag team cards, so I think I showed those off earlier, including the Latios. Managed to actually haggle the guy and get it for much, much cheaper than I planned on it. He originally had it listed for like $450. It was sitting there, and if you don't know, this card is worth like $1,000 right now because the internet sucks. That's really why. But he originally had that price and then said, "Oh no, I want this much for it." And I was like, "Well, it's got a little ding here. It's not worth that." And we argued back and forth, and I got it for like $650. So I'll take it. And really, the only thing wrong with it is technically it would still be near mint. It's just the very bottom part of it has like just the tiniest little nick. So
now you can't. Now you can't send it to PSA.
Man, I could. I just would get. I'd get a 7. Yeah, I know. But I mean, I'd get a 7. But ungraded, it's worth more because that's how that stupid shit works. But plus, it won't fit in my little case thing. So I don't want to do all that. That's a headache. But yeah, I have 8 of those tag team cards to get. So as far as tournament stuff, I haven't played anything, which really stinks because Nationals is. Yeah, I'm gonna play a lot. Don't worry, we talk next week. But Nationals is Friday. So my next 3 days are going to just suck ass. I'm going to be on call for technically 46 hours consecutively, and I will be off call at 5 a.m. on Thursday night going into Friday morning. However, that 5 a.m. Friday morning, yes, I need to watch that. I haven't gotten to Forbidden Door, but I've heard good things. But 5 a.m. I'm going to drive to Columbus, probably with no sleep because I'll probably, as my luck is, the hospital will keep me there all night. And then I'm going to drive there and then register at like 7 a.m. and then the tournament starts at 8. So we're going to have a lot of fun. And I also haven't chosen a deck yet. I also have to register a deck online with RK9, and I haven't yet. So I need to do that. So I haven't even chosen yet. I'll probably be boring and just pick the best deck, but that sounds...
I mean, yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Well, no, because you want to counter everyone else is just going to bring
That's the thing. There's a very clear best deck in the format, which is Gardevoir EX. However, people are going to be countering it. So it's like, do you want to play mirror matches, and do you want to play against decks trying to counter you, or do you want to play something else? And I haven't chosen what I want to do yet. I've got my plan is down to 3, and then a rogue deck will probably creep its way in because I'll do something weird with my thoughts because Adderall's a drug. But I'll pick something, though. It'll work out. So I'm looking to have fun there either way and do trading and such.
I'm excited to see how it goes for you.
Thanks. Yeah. So that's all I did this week, though. It was a pretty boring week.
I don't know if you guys have any like news stuff to discuss. There was a Nintendo Direct. They talked about a bunch of stuff that seems cool, whatever. I don't care. Pikmin 4 looks fun, I guess, to be fair. They're going to remake Super Mario RPG, and I'm thrilled about that. And they're adding some more games to, and this is just news I'm excited about this. They're adding more games to the Sega Genesis thing, which I don't even have because I don't have the expanded Nintendo Online membership, but I'm going to now because they added Crusader of Senti to the Genesis. I looked it up just real quick because I told you guys earlier. I think it was like $300. I was wrong. It's $450 now.
Jesus.
And it's never been put in a collection. It's not in like Sonic's Genesis collection on the 360. And it's not in anything. Like you got to get the cart or emulate it. But now you can play it on the Switch. So that rules hard. I'm super excited about that. Also, they added Revenge of Shinobi, which kicks ass. They added Super Ghouls and Ghosts, which is pretty fun. And they added Landstalker, which I'm also going to check out. Yeah, I like that. I love that. I love the old games on the Switch, and I know that it's like you don't own it because you got to keep the subscription. But I don't know. It suits me pretty well. Every time I want to play an old game, I'm like, did they port this to the Switch yet? No. I'll play something else maybe. I'm spoiled. I'm really spoiled.
For the price, it's really not that bad. I've always been happy, and I haven't used I go through periods where I don't use my Switch, and then I will. But yeah, I've always been very happy because I tend to go and gravitate myself back to those collections of games that they include versus downloading a bunch of new games.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's actually great to have on there. Like, oh, that was another thing I didn't even mention. Yeah, we played like Pokemon Stadium mini games for like 2 hours. I whipped everybody's ass
We
at
love
that.
those mini games.
Oh, those mini games are the best. They're so fucking fun.
They're good stuff. You guys got news? You guys have anything worth discussing?
Oh.
I don't have any news.
No
My only
news.
bit was the Crunchyroll thing. There was that bit, I think we shared it in the chat, about the guy that got all salty at CEO this weekend, which was,
I loved that. Oh my god, that delighted me. What an eternal loser! Like, I'd love to meet him and be like, people are going to call you a loser for the rest of your life, and it's not because you lost a match of Dragon Ball Z.
Yep. It's because of
Little
other
dick
reasons
energy.
to be a loser. No, he definitely did. He has ocean Frieza voice. There it is.
Oh man,
Final form. It's like
Virginia.
the voice.
That's a Psychic Devils.
Yeah.
Was playing with little boys in spandex again. I see.
The voice actor that did Ed Bighead's wife, Mrs. Bighead, is.
Oh, Ed.
It's like she sucked on a bunch of helium, and they were like beating people.
I can't do that. I can't do that. There's a limit to what I can do.
Ed.
Alrighty, we're gonna wrap it up. I guess the moral of the story this week is play Street Fighter and watch Dragon Ball.
And Pokemon. Woo!
Woo Pokemon. Everyone put your hands in the air and give Chaz your spirit energy on Friday and Saturday and maybe Sunday.
Yeah.
Are we gonna get some color or not? Or are you saying no?
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that after we go off the air. Look for us possibly tomorrow. I'll be honest, it might be a coin flip. It'll be up to the children of Gallia County.
I'll make Andy get color then.
Well, then by all means, please follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. Find us on your favorite podcasting applications. We're on them all. We're everywhere.
Yep.
We're finer dorks talking is peddled. So
now we are starting our new theme next week. I think we decided we weren't going to do 4th of July itself. We were going to do it either that Wednesday or next Thursday, right? The 6th. Is that correct?
You gotta watch Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, which just released, I think it was either today or yesterday, they just released the 30th anniversary 4K edition of the movie.
Oh, they spared no expense.
They spared no expense. So you got to watch it that way. It's the only way to watch it. There's 4K dinosaurs.
I'm gonna watch it on VHS. I got a sealed copy right here.
I still have my VHS. It's you can almost.
I'm so glad that everyone has a VHS copy of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm gonna watch the VHS.
Yeah, man.
Now.
Yeah. VHS. Let's go.
That's how I was gonna watch it. Man, that's great.
Alrighty, we're wrapping.
Quick, change the channel.
I have a question for God. Why? God!